And then this one that we just closed on, I want to specifically talk about that and the reasons why you personally sold your brand in the past, or people who are listening to this. I know everyone's in a different phase of their business, their Amazon business, their brand, if they have one. I guess why might a seller look at selling their brand? What was your reasons, and what's kind of involved with this decision making process of it's, some people create a brand and they're specifically like, I'm going to sell this in 3 years for a 3x multiple, and they kind of have it planned out and they have like a dollar amount they want to hit. But that's not everybody. Some people have kind of just gone through this process and they're not really thinking it that way. Maybe walk through your place where you were at when you sold your last brand.
Yeah, so we've talked about this before, but a brand that does, $1 million in sales and the way that it runs and operates is very different than a brand that does $5 million in sales. And $5 million sale brand is very different than a brand that does $10 million in sales. And so for me, when I was operating my brand early on that I sold 2 years ago, it was a brand that I'd been building for about 4 years. And I grew it to that $1 million level in revenue, but I didn't really have the team or the bandwidth to grow it beyond that. That was one of the reasons. And the other reason was I saw what I thought was a better opportunity in another brand that you and I were beginning to build. And I felt like it was kind of a distraction, this $1 million brand that I had. So those are decisions, right, that we make oftentimes, probably daily. We make opportunity cost decisions. And for me, it was an opportunity cost, kind of a distraction. I'd rather go all in on this other brand that I felt like had a higher ceiling. So those are some personal reasons that I had. And I imagine other entrepreneurs may be in that boat as well, where, they're a one-man operating team. They're really enjoying what they're doing and they get it to a certain level. And we see this a lot, right, in the Amazon space. And if you're listening to the podcast and you are at that level, but, maybe you hit a ceiling, you're like, man, I just don't have the ability to grow a team. That's another thing we hear a lot from entrepreneurs is, I don't want to manage employees. And we know that in order to scale right to that $5 million level and 10 million, you have to make employees. You have to have other talent on your operational team that's going to allow you to scale and grow. And so those are some reasons that some folks may say, hey, look, I hit this level. I don't want to build and scale, and that maybe they don't have the ability to do that. So, for me, again, that's when I said, okay, hey, it's time for me to exit out of this brand.